Victorian book ranking continues. So in this video, I will be telling you about the books I have ranked 69 through 60. So these are definitely books that I enjoyed. We're in the solid enjoyment zone. So more upbeat videos now for this part, and just books I'm excited to talk about. So 69 is Lady Windermeres Fan. And this is by Oscar Wilde. And I think this is ranked higher than A Woman of No Importance because in general, I just found the plot more interesting. It is, you know, as low down as it is because of my reservations I have with Oscar Wilde that I talked about in a prior Victorian book ranking video. But clever writing, interesting plot, some really funny lines. So it is the 69th book here. And then book number 68 is Barchester Towers by Anthony Trollope. This is the lowest ranked Anthony Trollope. And I am surprised now that I think about it that it is ranked lower than The Warden. But I think something about just listening to The Warden on audiobook made it an incredibly positive reading experience. And yeah, I'm really pleased to have read the entire Barchester series, and I want to keep reading more Anthony Trollope. It's really lovely, easy on the brain Victorian reading. He has some really interesting characters and just a lot of warmth and some sass and some sparkle. And yes, so I definitely did enjoy Barchester Towers. And then the 67th book, 69, 68, 67. Okay, I wanted to make sure I was counting my list right. The 67th book is The Importance of Being Earnest. So I would say this is my favorite out of Oscar Wilde's plays. And it just has a lot going for it. It is hysterical. If you like the P.G. Wodehouse kind of zany screwball comedy type of humor, you're going to enjoy The Importance of Being Earnest. And yes, just sparkling wit. That's what I would say about this one. So I did definitely enjoy it. And then number 66 is The Woodlanders. This is sort of middling Thomas Hardy for me, where I liked it, but I did not feel that I connected with the characters. This is the first novel that I read by Thomas Hardy. I read Under the Greenwood Tree, but that to me is more a novella. And so this was my first novel experience with Hardy, which I'm so glad I did not start with Tess of the D'Urbervilles because I know that puts a lot of people off. And I did like this. It has such beautiful landscape writing, like Hardy is so well known for, but the main characters in this, I felt I just didn't know them. I didn't feel drawn to them. I wasn't sure how I was even supposed to feel about them. So yes, all in all, I just didn't connect with it that deeply. And then we move on to the 65th book, and that is Bleak House by Charles Dickens. I really did enjoy, I enjoyed Bleak House. I really enjoyed half of Bleak House. So you have two main plot lines going when you're reading Bleak House. And Esther is one of the main characters, and I found myself so drawn to Esther as a character. I wanted to know more about her, what she was thinking, what was going on in her head, what was going to happen to her. But there are some elements of Bleak House that kind of bogged it down for me. And there is this one law case that a lot of screen time, you know, page time is spent on. And I just found myself kind of feeling a little bit like it dragged in those parts. It's going to be really hard for me to be super interested in any law case in a fiction book. And so I definitely did enjoy this. This is a Dickens that I enjoyed, and I very much want to reread this. I want to come back to this. And then the 64th book is The Doctor's Family, another one by Margaret Oliphant that is part of her Carlingford Chronicles. And this one had a lot of humor. I just love, it feels very close to Trollope. So if you want to try something that feels similar and, like I said, easy on your brain, but you want something Victorian to read, I would definitely recommend trying the Carlingford Chronicles. And then, what is next? I lost my place. The 63rd book is Love and Mr Lewisham. And this is by H.G. Wells, and not your typical science fiction by H.G. Wells. I still have not read any science fiction by H.G. Wells, which I need to fix. But Love and Mr. Lewisham is really a story of this marriage and struggling in the class that you are in. Mr. Lewisham at the beginning, he wants to be a teacher, but he is also very deeply in love. And it was really taboo at that time for teachers to be married, which is just very odd to me. You know, you're not teaching 100% of the day, so can't you still, in your free time, spend time with your family? I don't understand it. But it really follows their marriage and how complex it is made by him being so driven to really move up the ranks in society. But it's just so incredibly depressing. You see him swimming up against the tide and really struggling, and all of these misunderstandings that he has with his wife. And the fights that they have feel incredibly realistic. They feel the way that you see the misunderstandings that you have with people. It feels just so real in this book. So it was very engaging, very gripping, just really drained me as I was reading it. And then the 62nd book is The Fisherman's Lady by George MacDonald. This had a lot of elements about it that I really liked. And one that I especially loved was when our main guy is on the beach and he sees the woman who he falls instantly in love with for the first time. She is sitting on the beach reading The Fairy Queen by Edmund Spenser. I mean, how Victorian does that sound? So it did have some really fun elements. There's a mystery of something hidden in a house in a secret room, but it's also this really charming, it starts out very charming in this little Welsh town, and someone has to blow the trumpet every morning to let people know what time it is, and it's just this little insular town. There's some really funny bits and some really interesting characters, and it definitely made me want to read more of George MacDonald's fiction. He does have fantasy I want to read more of, but he has domestic fiction that I want to read more of as well. And then the last book for this list, the 61st book, is The Book of Dragons by E. Nesbit. This just comes in, you know, at the Victorian deadline of 1901, and it is a collection of short stories, and they all involve dragons in some way. It is incredibly whimsical. There's a dragon that swallows an entire town, and dragons just interacting in all sorts of ways. I think there's a North Pole story with dragons at the North Pole, something like that, and incredibly charming. I very much enjoyed reading this aloud, so I don't know had I read it alone if I would have enjoyed it as much. But I very much recommend it if you want a book full of whimsy and charm. It was lovely, lovely, lovely to read. So that is the next group of rankings. I hope that you enjoyed this. We're climbing up the ranks. We're going to get to books that I have enjoyed more and more. And I think that is all for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back for another video soon. Bye.